So Marvel Studios has officially released Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings starring Simu Liu. And let me tell you, this is the best action movie that the MCU has released. And I would even consider it in my top 10 favorite MCU movies of all time. I still don't know what my ranking would be for Shang-Chi, but I obviously got to put it in my top 10. But the action was great. But yeah, let's get into the review. My name is Isaac, and this is the multiverse of movies. So if you're brand new to the channel, or if you're a returning subscriber, y'all make sure to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bells. That way, you can be notified of future content here on the channel. My name is Isaac, and again, this is the multiverse of movies, a channel for movie fans to be the movie fans that they are, because we talk about movies all the time, whether it's Matrix, Terminator, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Star Trek, whatever it is. This is the channel for you, because we do trailer reactions, movie reviews, movie news, live streams, and all that kind of fun stuff. And if you want to see more reviews like this, then make sure you subscribe again and comment down below after the video and let me know what are your thoughts on Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. But anyways, let's get into my review. And let me just say this. When the trailers first dropped, I wasn't that excited because Shang-Chi was a character I was not too familiar with. I've read like 2 comic books of Shang-Chi, but that's about it. He was just this character I wasn't very familiar with. So when I watched the trailer, the only thing that really excited me was Simu Liu, because if you don't know, Simu Liu stars in a show called Kim's Convenience. Kim's Convenience is this little Canadian, South Korean show on Netflix that I really love, and that's where I knew Simu Liu from. And so it was exciting to see him be in an MCU project. But I will admit, in the trailers, Aquafina came off as annoying. I was like, she's not going to be funny. She's going to be boring. And I thought this movie was just going to be this boring stereotype of Asian cinema. But let me tell you, this movie is much more than that. First of all, Simu Liu and Aquafina's chemistry works well. One thing I'm glad that this movie did was it didn't make them a lovey-dovey relationship. It made them more just close friends. And I'm a big sucker for friendship kind of relationships. Like, don't get me wrong, I like romance. I like it when we get a good romance movie, but something hits different when it's friendship. And I love friendship kind of things. And I like how the movie doesn't change Aquafina and Simu Liu's characters, Shang-Chi. And I always forget Aquafina's character's name. Someone remind me in the comments, but I like how they're both friends. They're close. They understand each other. And I love that. Wenwu, who is the Mandarin, who is the father of Shang-Chi. Amazing performance by the dude. I know he's popular in Asian cinema. I'm not too familiar with him. Although I have seen a few things that he's been in. I'm just not too familiar. But let me tell you, his acting in this movie as the villain, as the antagonist, amazing. Worked perfect for the protagonist. And look, one thing I don't like about the MCU is that most of their villains suck. I mean, we just had Taskmaster. I didn't like Taskmaster. So it is great to see another MCU villain do very well. And I really liked him. And I also love the mythological and the legacy kind of aspect of this film. This movie delves deep into the mythology, the legacy of the characters, the worlds there are. I'm not going to say anything because obviously no spoilers in this review, but there are moments of, you learn from the past, and the past is just so amazing. It's awesome. And I really love that. And I love how this movie is heavily, like, when I first heard the title Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, I was really wondering how much of the Ten Rings are they going to reference. But let me tell you, this whole movie is the Ten Rings. The Ten Rings are involved in this movie massively. The bad and the good of the Ten Rings. And I love that. And the motivation of the villain plays a part of that. And I love Wenwu's motivation because there are moments where I'm like, I understand why he's doing the things he's doing. So I love that. And all the side characters were pretty good. The redhead guy was good. Shang-Chi's sister, I don't remember her name. I apologize, but she was good. Shang-Chi's mom was a great actress. Even though she was limited in her role, I gotta say she was pretty good in her role. But I would say the standout actors are probably Shang-Chi and Wenwu, or Simu Liu, and I forgot Wenwu's actor's name, but they're both great. They're amazing. This movie understands when to have comedy and also understands when to have emotional moments. And this movie has a lot of heart, it has a lot of soul, it has a lot of this, it has a lot of that. There are moments, I'm a sucker for movies about father-son relationships. Those are movies that kind of hit me the most. And this movie delves really deep into the father son relationship of these characters, and I love that. And also the look and the landscape of everything in the film just looks so aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It looks beautiful. It looks amazing. And watching this movie on IMAX, everything just looks so beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. This movie was just stunning. It was wonderful, and I love that so much. But let me get into the actual one of the best parts of the movie, but the action. The action was cool. It was great. The train fight scene with the music, I think it matched perfectly, and it looked all good. And look, I was when I first saw the trailer, I thought it was just gonna be generic fighting, but I gotta admit, the action is really good. I would say it's the best in the MCU, better than any of the Avengers movies, better than Black Widow recently. Even though that's what I thought Black Widow was gonna have, which was good action, but I was disappointed by that. But Shang-Chi did have amazing action. And not only was it just amazing action, it was action that felt at stakes because there was moments where Shang-Chi was losing fights. He loses fights actually. He loses fights. He struggles in fights, and that to me felt real. That to me felt very, very real. In fact, most of the time when he fights the villain Wenwu, he's losing, and and I look. I understand having OP characters. I know that's been a big trend now with John Wick and all those kinds of characters, but I there's something different about an action movie that makes its protagonist struggle in a fight. To me, that always feels more real. Like the Fast and Furious movies don't do that anymore, but I'm glad Shang-Chi decided to do that, where you actually get into them losing. They don't have to lose, but them struggling, losing to fight, especially on a 1v1 fight, and I really like that. The music in this film was great. The original soundtracks, the non-original soundtracks. There was a few songs that I had to download for my playlist, especially "In the Dark" by Sway Lee, and then they kept. Then there was a Hotel California reference, and now I want to listen to that song again because I really like it. But there was a lot. There was a lot of good songs in this movie, uh, and overall, I'm glad this movie exists because it was awesome. One of the best action movies I've seen in the last 10 years. I wouldn't say the best, but I would say one of the best. Uh, do I think this is the best MCU movie? No, I would say Guardians of the Galaxy is still up there. It's still my favorite MCU movie, but I would have to think about it. I think Shang-Chi might. I know definitely it's in my top 10 MCU movies, but would it be in my top 5? That I'm going to have to think about for a while. There's a few movies I think are better than Shang-Chi, but I would have to think about that. But I do think it has a competition in being in top 5. It probably isn't top 10 comic book movie, but it is close to there. And let me just tell you, it's great and amazing. The only flaw of this movie that I have is there was just like two jokes that I didn't like where they felt awkward and they felt weird. And Aquafina at the end of the movie does something. I can't remember her character's name, but she does something in the movie that's impactful that I don't know how she did that, and it threw me off the movie for a while. But that's the only flaw I have. And also, Wong's amazing. Wong's amazing. So I forgot to say that, but that was really the only criticism I had. That's literally the only thing. Overall, I love this movie. I think this is an amazing movie. I love this movie. I love it. I love it. I completely love it. And I think, who do I recommend this movie to? I recommend it to people who love action style films, fast paced action, who are like big into like, John Wick, who are big into like James Bond, who are big into like those very big action style movies. That's what Shang-Chi provides. Uh, if you're someone who likes movies about father son dynamics, this one's great. If you love comedy, this one also has that. If you're a Marvel MCU movie, if you're an MCU fan, you're probably gonna like this because this movie does feel like an MCU movie for the most part. And if you're someone who likes Asian cinema, you're definitely gonna love this film. But yeah, that's who I recommend this movie to. Overall, I love this film. I want to go rewatch it. I'm not even joking. And let me tell you this: I watched it on IMAX. First time I've been in IMAX in years. Amazing. It's just beautiful. on IMAX. It's beautiful on IMAX, and I recommend it. Also, stay tuned for post credit. There are 2 post credit scenes. The first post credit, no spoilers by the way, is amazing. Probably one of the best MCU post credit scenes. And the second one teases something in the future of the lore of the Shang-Chi character. So yeah, I would recommend staying after the credits. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today's review. Make sure you subscribe and comment down below after the video and let me know your thoughts on Shang-Chi. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.